crossed we'll get these comments coming through. If you are joining us today, please make sure you say hello so that I know I'm not just talking to nobody. It's lovely to know that there's somebody on the other side of the screen. Again, I'm sorry you've got my own natural because my makeup still makes me look like a ghost, but the tan's fading fast. Anyway, so it does tell me that I'm connected on both, so whether there is anybody watching us or not, I don't know. Fingers crossed. My dog's suddenly having a mad moment out there. Maisie! No! Maisie, go see Grandma! Sorry. Hopefully Mum or Martin will come and grab Maisie for me ASAP and we can get on with this. Maisie! She's having a real mad moment, but she's the most stubborn, naughty dog you'll ever meet. Hi, Carol. Fingers crossed somebody will hear us and come to my rescue. Maisie's been a proper little madam up here. So if anybody is watching, we would love them. Mum, Martin, one of you, please come and get Maisie. Okay. So, hello, Catherine. Love that card you put on there today. Hi, Kathy. Yeah, so we're on YouTube and Facebook. That's always a good start. So, today we are going to go back to a stamp. I think we launched this about 18 months ago. Maisie. Something like that.
Maisie.
You can probably hear Mum trying to call Maisie, and she's the most stubborn person in the world. Mum might find it easier to get Martin. Anyway. Right, let's flick this round. Let's get rid of this and round to see what we've got going on. Hi, Michelle. You know Maisie, Michelle. She is naughty, doing it her way. Oh, that sounds like fun, Carol cleaning. So, Kerry. Hi, Sue. Right, so this is what we're going to be working on today. It looks crazy here, but I haven't actually decided which one of these two I'm going to use. But they're kind of in the colour combination that we're using with the pens. So we'll decide on that when we get to that point. I have already made one of these cards. Unfortunately, I've had to make one of those awful cards where one of my oldest friends lost her dad a couple of weeks ago, very unexpectedly. Well, very unexpectedly. He has been poorly for a little while, but they weren't expecting that. So bless her, it's having been there, known that, like a lot of us have. I did make her a card yesterday, and I've done it a couple of weeks. I'm going to deliver it next week because, and I don't think Sarah watches us, fingers crossed, because, do you know, when it first happens, everybody sends lots of cards and flowers and stuff, and then there's this lull between the two events. So next week's his funeral, so we'll do it for next week. So I'm going to ask you for some help on which finish we're going for. Hello, Pat. So anyway, back to what we're doing. Today we are using Meadow Flowers, which is one of our $9.99 sets. And excuse me, I have this awful asthma cough. I only suffer with asthma during the harvest season in the UK. When I'm out of the country, I don't suffer with any of it. But it comes along with me with this tickly little asthma cough, which drives me insane. Anyway, so happy birthday. Oh, sorry, this is the sentiment stamp set, which has got happy birthday. Hope this year is your best one yet. Hope you have a fabulous day. Celebrate your day. Make a wish and birthday wishes on here. We are also using this one, which again, I think we used this a little while ago. We may not have used this part. I can't remember. And it's called That Little Extra. Now we have, hi Patricia. I don't know if I caught you, Pat. Hi, Pat. So we're using this section here, which is roughly the size of our $8.99 sets. So that'll give you an idea of the size of this stamp. But we also do one that's called Rustic Frames that this fits inside of. So if you're into making like the smaller cards, this is really nice and the frame works really well. And if you look back on our videos, which are all uploaded on YouTube, so on our YouTube channel, there is one that I did a while ago and I used different colours for me too. Hi Joe, long time no see. So I used lots of different colours to what I would normally use, but it came out really lovely. And there's little tips and techniques with that in that particular video. It shows you how to extend the frames, etc. with this. So I love this. This is one of those stamps that you just look at and think, what would I do with that? I use it so much. You can tell by the colour of my stamp when we get there. So that's the 3 stamps. Obviously I've had to make one of those really unpleasant cards that we all have to make sometimes. And I have used this set, which is the Sympathy set, which is one of our $5.99 sets. It says with deepest sympathy and thinking of you on there as well. Hi Tricia. So I'm piling this stuff up here. Hopefully we'll be able to grab it again when we need it. And then obviously the cardstock, we've got it in 250 and 300 GSM on our super smooth. And then we've got the black cardstock in it's paperweight in the 120. As I say, excuse my cough, it drives me insane. So we've got Lost Shadow, Squeezed Lemonade, Twisted Citron and Tumbled Glass. We will only be using one of these colours, and I'm edging towards the Tumbled Glass, but we'll see. Look, I've got a new mat. I told you I was going to get my table redone, so I've recovered my table, and now my mat's so big you can't see it anyway. Good grief. All that effort and I could have hidden it anyway. Anyway, so that's our colours. I'm running out of space rapidly. The clean colour pens we're using. Now I am going straight onto super smooth cardstock because I'm not colouring in. Yes, you will see us at Lincoln, Joe. We will be coming in very, very late because we have a workshop the night before, so it's going to be a mad, crazy setup, but hey ho. We love a challenge. Anyway, so back to the colours. We're using the Kuretake Clean Colour Real Brush Pens in 020 Red, Yellow 055, hi Tricia, Light Blue 036 and Yellow Green 053. Also going to be using VersaFine in Onyx Black, Crystal Clear Embossing Powder and obviously our sticky glue that comes in the two sizes, 120ml and 30ml. So I think that's everything. We'll clear the decks and get started. As per normal, we've got a few weird and wonderful measurements, so we'll get started on those. Right, let's have a look. Get it in an order that makes sense when I'm showing you. The challenge we're not going to get unloaded the night before, Joe. We're going to have to do it, wing it in the morning. It's going to be chaos. So back to our sizes. So you need 2 pieces of black or whatever layering cardstock you want. This is cut at 7 and no, it's not at all. Does that look like 7 inches to you? It's cut at 3 7/8 by 5 5/8. See, I'm sorry, I know you hate me. So you want 2 of those. You're going to go with we'll do the black cardstock first. It might make it a bit easier for us. Then we've got black in 5 5/8 by 8. No, that's not that one either. Oh, good grief. Should we start again? Black cardstock times 2. 3 7/8 by 5 5/8. Black cardstock 5 5/8 by 8 1/8. Oh, good grief, I can't even read my own writing, look. And then black cardstock in 6 by 4.5. Hi Anne, we went to Slovenia on our part of our holiday, and you know, that was, if anybody asks me where my favourite place was we visited, Slovenia was it. It was absolutely beautiful, so I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Unfortunately, we only had one day there, but it was beautiful. I really, really enjoyed it, and definitely somewhere I'm going to go back to. Enjoy your time in Great Yarmouth. Haven't been there for years. Not far from here though. So that's our black cardstock measurements. Our white cardstock measurements, you are going to go with 2 pieces at 5.5 by 3 3/4. So now you can see why the black is a bit of an odd size, because it just does our little border around the edge, remember? So you've got 2 white pieces to cover those 2 black pieces. You then have a white piece for the larger one, which is 8 by 5.5. Again, just to do that little border around the edge. Then we have a 5 7/8 by 4 3/8 in white again, and then this one will throw everybody because it always does. This is a piece that's going to go behind the black, and it will make sense when we put it together, which is 6 1/8 by 4 5/8. Anybody wants those, I'll try and pop them in the comments section when I upload it to the pictures to Facebook. We are doing a A5 landscape card. So we're going to open up like so. And obviously they just fit into a regular A5 envelope. So basically what A5 is, A5 landscape is, you'd have a second piece up here. Does that make sense? So if you opened it out, it would be an A3. Fingers crossed that made sense to everybody. I'm going to put that out to one side. Now we're going to do the little trick that I have with our scoring. I don't use it as a scoring board, but I do use it to hold my card together to do my fold. Because it just means that it tends to be a little bit easier to get that fold in. I know it's in the wrong way for what I want, but I'm going to turn that over now, get rid of my scoring board. I don't need it for anything else other than that. And that means that we get our cards folded in as tight as we can to that spine, because they tend to move around a little bit if you haven't got something holding it in place. So that is the hardest bit done of that piece. The days just got away with me too, Maggie, so I know how you feel. So let's get a couple of these bits out of the way and we'll get started. So we're going to do these two pieces first. Remember, you're not really doing anything with the black, it is literally your layering. Remember I said I use this stamp to death. I really do. I use it on the block and I use it off the block, and we'll use it off the block for the net, for the second, maybe both parts actually. We'll see. I think it's going to be just to do the big one. Now I think tumbled glass is where I'm going to go. I just have that feeling. And this is purely because obviously you've got plain white card here, and I always tell you try and use your stamps to make your backgrounds, so that you're not spending a fortune on pattern paper. You can colour theme it, you can tie everything all in together. So lots of little light taps. Now remember, again, I'm using the Distress Oxide in Tumbled Glass, so it's a square ink pad and it will come up quite obvious as a square sometimes. So just, particularly if they're new, so just be careful not to keep it all in one place, one direction, because you don't want those lines to show up really. You will see that this is going to be, I'm wondering maybe I'll go that way, make it a little bit easier on me. So it doesn't quite fit the full size of this card. It's not showing up great, is it? I'll bring it up closer in just a moment. I did worry about that with this colour, but it just is going to work better with what we're going to be doing. Now on this particular stamp, this side is slightly heavier printed than this one, so I tend to, if I'm overlapping it, I tend to use this section here against the overlap section. Everybody's forgetting the time today. It must be one of those days, Debbie. So I've overlapped those two. We are literally doing this full card from start to finish, other than cutting it out, because I haven't got any of it prepped ahead, because you don't need to. It's such a quick card to make once you know your measurements. Oh, we don't want that extra bit of thread on there. Tumbled Glass is quite a well-loved ink pad of mine, so it's getting a little bit in need of a re-inker, I think. So as I mentioned, I'm going to use it so that the slightly less printed side is where we will overlap. And I promise I'll bring it in closer so that you can see it. I can't believe I did all that, spent all that time covering my table so it looked all nice and pretty, and now my new mat means you don't see it anyway. I'll have to roll up my mat at the end so you can see my new table. But it makes so much difference. The old table was very well loved. Or should I say the old top was very well loved. So again, in using that less printed side, you can overlap the printed sides if you want. Again, it's your card, you do it how you want to do it, but these are just my little tips. And we will come up hopefully not too fast, and you can see, so we've gone from a really plain boring piece of white cardstock to something that has a little bit of interest. It would be just like having a patterned paper. You could always blend it a little bit as well over the top if you wanted to take away the white from behind, but I kind of like that white on there. So that's the first two pieces. You're going to do the same again on the bigger one. You will have one piece that has nothing, one white piece that you do nothing to. It is literally your layer, and as I said, it will make sense to you when we get there. Those of you that have done some of our workshops will know exactly why. Now this is the piece you're going to be working on. So if you don't have an anti-static bag, I would suggest you did this piece first, which is your, let's have a look, 5 by 7/8 by 4 3/8. So if you haven't got an anti-static bag, please do that bit first, because you need that ink to dry really before you get to stamping on it, because we are going to be stamping on the top of this. Also, another thing to note about this particular stamp, and I'll show you up close when we get there, it's kind of a bit knobbly. So if you are using wet wipes or anything like that to clean your stamps, just be careful how you do it. We are doing a zigzaggy type card, I suppose, Tracy. So thanks for joining us. So let me come up and just show you what I mean. So there's lots and lots of texture on here, but they're small little bits of texture. So when you go on to use that, to clean that, it will pick up any extra lanolin, any extra fluff that's on your cloth. They will stick to that, so be aware of that. Now we're going to go straight onto that really big piece. And remember I said to you I sometimes use it on the block and off the block. We are going to be using it off the block next, but I'm going to ink it up on the block first. Just makes it a little bit easier, because I only want round the edges of this. I don't want the whole thing covered. I just want to pop a bit something around the edges. So because it's got, although it hasn't got hard ends, it does have hard ends when you do it how I'm going to use it. So I don't want it to be a completely solid image. So you can do it like so and take your image around. Work out where your edges are, and then you're just going to re-ink it. You will get quite messy doing this way, but it just stops you getting that hard lines, because we don't necessarily want the hard lines on this one. Because it might also be easier for you guys if you have got a little bit of acetate or something like that you could stick it down onto, because this is obviously from a big set. I can't use it how I would normally use it. Let me grab a piece. Let me see if I can find a piece of acetate. Here we go. So I can explain what I mean. So like the extra piece of your carry sheets, you can use that. So we're going to ink this up. So for those of you that don't like getting your fingers dirty, this works. So put it on an extra bit of carry sheet, and you can just take sections of it. So as I said, I want a little bit left in the middle there, but I want it over the edges. It just gives you a chance to manipulate your stamp a little bit more. So once you're happy with that, pop that out of the way, and then we're going to clean this up and put it back on the block to clean, just to make it a little bit easier to show you a bit of where I've stamped off the page. So as I said, I don't go in and scrub this one. Just going to go in, and every so often I'll run it under the tap. This will just take off the excess ink that's on there. And to be fair, unless you're really, really picky and you're going to go on with clear ink afterwards, the colour isn't going to come through that much if there's any left on there. Just don't scrub it. Unless you've got one of those sponges that won't rip or anything, then you can go ahead and scrub it. But that's just my little top tip for this particular set of stamps, or for this particular stamp from this set. Oh, I hadn't thought about that, Pat. Soft toothbrush. Can you believe my electric toothbrush broke day before yesterday? We're having a right time of it at the moment. Just before we went away, our Hoover, my hairdryer, and Mum's 30-year-old fridge all broke on the same day. Can you believe it? We had to replace all three of them on the same day. And now my toothbrush is gone. And I do like my electric toothbrush. Been using Martin's, nowhere near as good. Crazy, isn't it? A toothbrush. You get addicted, you get hooked on a particular type of toothbrush. Good grief, Amanda. I would say get a life, but I'm too busy. Right. So as I always say to you, put pieces together if you can, because it gets them out of your way. So I'm just going to quickly glue these pieces down, because we're not going to do anything else to these pieces. They are literally like your backing pages. There's only one of them that we will be, and that's this piece, which is the middle size that you're not going to put in. Don't stick this one down yet. So it's the two smaller pieces, and I probably wouldn't stick the big one down yet either, because we're going to emboss, stamp onto that one as well. So just make it easier if you don't. One. Two. And using the wet glue gives you that little bit of wiggle room. And then if you want to be super organised, you can put those two pieces straight onto your card as well. So I'm often asked how I manage not to have my lines of glue show through on the cardstock. I hold my glue actually touching that page and I just drag it around. So some places get heavier glue than others, but none of it gets huge amounts. So that helps, and also if you use a heavier weight cardstock, you won't notice that so much. Pearl and mirror card, you will 9 times out of 10 see it through, so think about that when you're using it. Right, so that's the first part of our card put together. We're going to go on to this piece now. As I said, if you haven't got an anti-static bag, let this piece dry before you do anything. So, put that lid on there. We're going to take the VersaFine Onyx Black. And we're going to ink that up. And we will also be using our crystal clear embossing powder as well. Got my ink all over the place there. So line this up on here. Doesn't have to be perfectly straight. And if you would prefer, you can take it off the page a little bit if you want to do that as well, so that it's all lined up. If that would make you happier, please feel free to do it. Hopefully we've got all of that on there. And then we are going to pop some crystal clear embossing powder over the top. Now this is entirely up to you whether you heat this first now, and then pop your sentiment on, or pop your sentiment on and then heat it up. I'm going to go for it and pop the sentiment on first. I think we're going for happy birthday or hope your day is fabulous. Celebrate your day, birthday wishes, happy birthday. Why not? So pop sentiment on the stamp, on the block, ink your sentiment up. Now remember, we're going to pop some embossing powder on here. So when you press the sentiment down, don't press too hard, because if you do and you're going to emboss it, you do it so that you get a channel down the middle, because if you press down in the middle here, the ink spreads out to the sides. So you'll get embossing powder down the middle and none, down the sides and none down the middle. So don't press too hard when you put your sentiment on. You do obviously want to make sure your sentiment goes on, but just think about it when you're putting it down. a little bit of a paddle and off. That's all it takes. And embossing powder on there. Now I'm going to be really pushing my luck. I'm not pushing my luck at all, because once the powder is on there, it's not going to fall off. The ink's not going to dry quick enough. So I am going to do it so that we do it all in one. Or no, I won't. I'll be good. I'll heat this first and then I will. Now obviously it takes a couple of minutes. For those of you that haven't watched me before, I think everybody that's commented has watched me before, but we're going to heat from underneath, purely because the ink we're using isn't particularly friendly with embossing powder. So we heat from underneath. That puts a barrier between the air that comes out of your heat gun and the powder. So hopefully it won't jump around, because we're going to colour this a little bit. There we go. Mind your fingers when you do it from underneath, because it does get very hot. That embossed. Again, I'm just going to pop that to one side while we do the sentiment that's going to be, this is the inside of our card. Are we going to say, hope your year is your best one yet? Or are we going to say, celebrate your day? Hope this year is your best one yet. I feel that need. So again, ink that stamp up. Oh, I'm completely off screen. Ink that stamp up. Pop it down. I don't know if I was on screen when I did the other one. I need to come down a bit to see if we're level. Oh well, it's down now. Remember, don't press too hard. Just give it that little bit of a wiggle and off. And again, it's entirely up to you if you want to heat emboss inside or not. You don't have to. I'm going to. I'm going for it. And pop the excess away. So that's all your embossing done. So you can put all those bits and pieces out of your way. And then we'll just heat that up. Oh, hope you feel better soon, Gay. There's nothing worse, is there? Hi Betty, I know, I don't know, do you go dancing with Marianne? I don't know if you do or not. I know she said Thursday afternoons weren't great for her. We are just trialling out to find out what's best. In the winter time, we may even well go into an evening one. Let me know what you think. Would you prefer it in the evening, better in the day? We'll see what we can do to kind of make it work for everybody. We moved to daytimes because we were in our unit, and it meant I was having to stay over there until like 9 o'clock at night if we did the evenings, which isn't ideal in the winter time, is it? Oh, keep smiling, Gay. Hopefully it'll be over soon. So that is our sentiment on the centre of our card as well. So again, if you wanted to, you can stick that down. I'm just going to quickly nip onto this so that we can colour this in. Now, I'm using these 3 colours. Remember, we're using clean colour pens on embossed card, stamped image. So just be aware and try and not smudge it, is what I was going to say. So we're going to go in with all the greens first. So I'm going to catch all of those leaves. It's really weird because I've got a little bit of a delay. There's always a slight delay on what I'm doing. And from what you're seeing. So, and I can hear Mum watching us in the other room, which I've never known before, never noticed it before. I knew there was the delay, but my heat gun gave me away. So we're just literally, and again, you don't have to be, if you go over the lines, you go over the lines. It's not anything major, is it? Just trying to pick up all those green bits, the bits that I want to be green. I think I've caught all of those, and I'm going to go in and blot that. And then I'm going to go to the red last, because the red smudges if you catch it the furthest. So I'm going to leave the red till last. And this blue is why we went with the tumbled glass on here. Remember to blot. Going to go in with our yellow and do our big daisies up here. This is such a simple card to make, and I've done it before where we didn't do any colour on the background and it was just completely white. So if that is a look you really like, this works really well for that too. And then we're going to go in with some red. I'm going to spin it around for the red, because it scares me. And because we're just doing it in these tiny little pieces on here, it's going to sit more on the top of the stamp than the other colours because they're such small pieces. But the red really does lift it if you're doing something these particular colours. I'm having to spin it around, but just be careful not to touch. And as I said, we're doing this card, literally all I'd done is cut out the cardstock before, and what does that take us? 10 minutes at the most. So that's it all coloured in. How simple was that? Remember, that red goes a long way. So we're going to blot that. So that's the main part of the card done. So we will now stick that onto here. See, it's quick, because I waffled quite a bit at the beginning. This would make quite a nice, like, just thank you cards for after summer wedding. So many people have been doing weddings and wedding invitations recently. That it's now time to do the thank yous, isn't it? So pop that down, and then remember that one white piece that I said you do nothing with. You're going to stick that on the top. If you've got a heavier weight cardstock, I didn't have any here that I could grab, I would go with a heavier weight cardstock than the 250 that I'm using, because it gives it stability. It gives, like, this is what I class as our topper, and although it's not it's a completely from start scratch topper, it gives this piece the stability. So if you have got another thicker piece of cardstock, just a scrap piece that you've got lying around really for that size, it is literally backing, so don't panic about it. Gonna stick this piece down as well. Doesn't want to move for me, it's gone down hard too quick. There we go. Isn't it funny how we all have things about our names? Gay, Maggie. When I was younger, I was Mandy. And as soon as I learned how to spell Amanda, I was Amanda. But I used to get my full name if I was naughty. And today I took an order from somebody over the phone, and they were Anne, and it was, I always ask, is it Anne with an A or an E? With or without an E, sorry, because mine's without an E in my middle name, and I like it that way. So I always check things like that, and she said, nobody ever asks me that. So it's funny how we all have things. There's only a couple of people in my world that still call me Mandy, and they were people that I've known since I was tiny. But most people call me by the name that my niece gave me now, because she couldn't say Amanda when she was little, and I was Panda, and that's what most people call me now, Panda, which is mad. So we're going to pop this. We've stuck all of this together. Pat, it did used to be, we don't have a shop anymore. We are now working back from home at the moment, looking for different premises, so we don't have anywhere, but the Ickworth House Hotel is beautiful, so if you are going there, lucky you. So we are going to stick this on here. You only want to glue this side. Please do not glue this side. If you get carried away and you do, just recover the back of that. Don't try and rub the glue off or anything like that, because it will never be successful. So eyeball it roughly where you want it to go. Pop your glue on the right side, just about a third of it. And pop that down. I'm going to stick that down. Remember, if you haven't blotted it, when you go to stick that down, that's going to go everywhere. So make sure you blot it. And that's our card. You all know I love doing these zigzaggy type cards, because I just think they look a bit like you've kind of made an effort, but they're really easy to make. Thank you, Joe. So we'll come in a bit closer and you can see it. Now, remember I said I had to make that horrible card that we all have to make sometimes. So I'm going to ask your advice, ladies and gents. I wanted to show you the different ways in which how it looks as well, so this works at the same time. So I have done it with Lost Shadow on the background, exactly the same as I said. I have got one that I've coloured in, which has got lilacs and purples on, and then I have got one that I haven't coloured in, so I've just left it black and white, and I don't know which way to go, whether I should just leave it black and white. Should we come up a bit closer, or whether I should pop that little bit of colour in. I think I'm going for the colour, but it also works really nicely as black and white. So there again, there's another idea for something, for another way of using this particular card. I think that's probably the colour is where I'm going to go, but answers on a postcard. Let me know what you think. When I'm testing out what I want to do with something, or when I'm trialing out different styles and stuff, I use tape on the back, and all it is, you could probably do it with washi tape, but I have Post-it on a roll, and I fold it over and I stick it down, and I build the whole card up like that. And I keep all the pieces. See, I've got a nice little bundle of them here. I literally take the Post-it on a roll and fold it up, and it sticks it down. Which helps to decide whether I like what I'm doing or not, without actually sticking it all down. I think the colour too, everybody, so yeah, we'll go with colour. Thank you for your help. So we'll pop that one out to one side, and we'll stick with the ones that I've been showing you. So this is the finished card. So I think I just read that somebody said they wish they could make a card as quick as me. Well, follow what I've done, and you can. Literally, I cut it out before. I've given you all the measurements. I don't do anything difficult. I don't do anything, very rarely do anything that takes very long. The ladies on the workshops might argue with me on that one, but hey ho. So I'm going to quickly show you, look, my posh new table. I like it. I hope you all do too. So we will go back through quickly what we've used, and then I've got a couple of things to tell you, some exciting news to tell you. Right, so we have used clean colour pens in light blue, which is 036, red 020, yellow 505, and yellow green, which is 053. We've used the crystal clear embossing powder and Versamark. Let's not use all my old scruffy ones. Oh, swap it out. I've got a stretch around here. Crystal clear embossing powder and the Versafine in Onyx black. We use the sticky glue that comes in the 2 different sizes. We used tumbled glass and obviously our cardstock in the 250 GSM or 300 GSM super smooth, and the black cardstock as well. Other colours of the oxides that would work well for this one is, as well with these particular colour combinations, is Squeeze Lemonade. I didn't go for that because it really doesn't show up on the camera when we use that, so I didn't use that, but it will also look really quite nice with that. That would give you a bit of a spring like pop to it. Or Twisted Citron, same thing. Sometimes it can be a bit wishy-washy if I use it in bulk on the camera. And then that one I just did for the Sympathy card, I used Lost Shadow on that one. And then the stamps we have used are, I've got bits and pieces all over the place. So we've used that little extra, so we used this big block on the middle here. Oh, sorry, on the bottom. We used our sentiment stamp set, which says happy birthday. Let's come up a bit closer. Happy birthday. Hope this year is your best one yet. Hope your day is fabulous. Celebrate your day. Birthday wishes and make a wish. We also used meadow flowers as our main feature of the card. And then if you do need to do that sympathy, it was with deeper sympathy and thinking of you. So, and then as I say, there's our finished card. I hope you all enjoyed it. Now, exciting news. Let's go back to me. Oh, look how rosy cheeked I am now. I'll leave that for a second. So everything that we've used today is available on our website. If you are overseas, we also have the .com, so you can buy it through either. .co.uk does work overseas as well. At the moment, our next Facebook Live will be Thursday the 6th of September at 2 o'clock. We will continue with days for a little while to see how this goes. So the exciting news. You know it's the bank holiday weekend. And you know what usually happens on a bank holiday weekend. We have a Super Saver Summer Sale. I knew I'd get that wrong and I wrote it down. That has started right now. It is going, it's gone live now. I'm telling you guys now, we haven't sent the email out so that you'll get in there first. It is on limited stock. It's 20% off everything that's Honeydew Crafts products on our website, excluding the gift vouchers, the workshops, and our latest release, the 4 new Christmas ones. Everything else that's Honeydew Crafts is in the sale. Now, there is limited stock. It will only be till stocks last. At the very latest, it will be till Monday morning. But again, it is on stock lasting. We put a limited amount. I am busy working on the new release that hopefully will be out in the next 3 to 4 weeks at the latest. You might get a sneak peek maybe on the next one. I'm not sure. I'll let you know. You'll have to watch to find out. So the next Facebook YouTube Live is the 6th of September at 2 p.m. Hope lots of you can join me. Fingers crossed you all enjoyed today's Facebook Live. As I said, from start to finish making that card, if I added the cut in as well, probably 25 minutes. It's not a difficult card to make. I don't make anything difficult. So please give it a go. Don't forget, if you are on our Facebook page, or if you're on Facebook and you want to join our group where you can post your finished projects as well, it's called Honeydew Crafts Be Inspired. Just go on there, onto Facebook, put it in the search bar and request to join, and we can sort that out for you. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments. And as I said, when I post the picture up, it'll be probably tomorrow of this finished card, I will try and remember and put the measurements in. Have a lovely afternoon, everybody, and we will see you all soon. Don't forget, pop over to the website and have a look at that sale.